I've learned.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
It's past the halfway point in the season. The points are shaping up, and as you watch week number 7, it's a racetrack that needs no introduction. The Mecca of motorsports, live here tonight from North Carolina, Charlotte Motor Speedway. VRX in the 2025 edition of the World Cup. Welcome in to everybody here on V-Speed as we have another action-packed race presented by Moser Racing. Buck Kicker, Climax, and Superior Performance. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn, and the points have changed a little bit here. Starting to see a little bit of a gap shape up here, but you know, we're not too worried. I think it's going to tighten back up. The racing's going to go back to normal here, and I think with Talladega, you kind of have that asterisk on the season.
You definitely, we have a lot of big tracks in this schedule, and you're going to have a few outlier races here and there, but for the most part, the title race is still pretty set in stone with what we had even before we got out of Talladega. Brian Hennings, he opened up his lead a little bit over Philip Willis, 14 points. Dan Charles had a great race. He's only 24 back. Those are the main three to look at to start the second half of this season. Palmer, Richards, Collins, and a few others a little further back. You got Christian Key and Hunter back there with wins as well. But, really, I'd say 4th to about 14th are pretty close together, and it's only going to get closer, I think.
We're having major frame rate issues here tonight, so I apologize for the late start. We've been trying to get that fixed. I'm going to try to periodically. The last time I tried to fix this, made a huge mistake. But here's a look at Charlotte Motor Speedway, if you can see it. Opened June 15th, 1960. Concord, North Carolina, 1.5 miles here tonight. 24 degrees of banking. This track hasn't changed really at all.
No, really. It really hasn't changed much. We've actually seen the line in real life gravitate towards the top part of the racetrack, and that's been a big part of this track as well. We've seen that top side come into play. It's kind of made it harder to pass. We saw in another race with Gen 4 cars, though, that bottom's still really the place you want to be on iRacing, right around that blue and white line around the bottom of the racetrack. But in these ARCA cars, you could see the top line come into play for defense.
And we're going to put the grid up on the screen, starting on the top spot at 29.973 for Mike Howerton. We'll have Philip Willis to his outside. And we'll keep this scrolling on your screen as we cycle to the racetrack. There's your top 5 with Jason Line, Jeffrey Hunter. Goes back to Dane Shivers, and you have Benjamin Richards, Kelly Walton, Mike Shivers in the top 10. We'll just keep this on the screen with Mike Howerton on the top spot. Pace car is going to pull off in week number 7.
Not pulling off.
No, they're not pulling off. They're going to give us an extra lap. So there you go, Connor.
Quick, rewind it. We got Anthony Edgerton 13th, though. At least we got to him. It's actually fitting we got to this row because Brian Hennings is kind of far back compared to what we're used to seeing. He's 14th. I think he said in this recession he just messed up his second lap, so points leaders have to come from kind of mid-pack, which will at least get the back half of the field, even though we were having to rush through the front half. David Collins, a 707, 15th for him. Chase Rockford, who had a rough Talladega, 16th place for him. Frank Chavez, the 23, still in the Mulcahy tribute scheme, I believe, 17th. Teresa Spiker, 18th, and another Chevy. A lot of Chevys in this league, as we know. Greg Spiker will start 19th. Dan Charles, who got a top 4, I believe, last week. He's 3rd in points. He starts 20th.
These drivers not taking a time with Christian Key. You have Kevin Mulcahy in this session here. Kenneth Blackburn and John Hudson. Kevin Mulcahy, of course, the tribute scheme and a tribute to what he has here at VRX and everything that we put on there last week at Talladega. We'll show it real quick on the screen on the left-hand side. There's your race analysis for tonight with Mike Howerton into turn 1. He'll have 70 laps to lead here with a pit road speed limit of 45 miles per hour, unlimited tire sets, 2 green-white checkered attempts, everyone with 1 fast repair. Of course, that iRacing fixed setup on 65% fuel. This time the pace car will pull off. The lights were off, but this time we will confirm it. Here we go for week number 7. VRX World Cup 2025 is live and racing. Big jump on the outside for the 33 into turn 1. Leading lap 1, Philip Willis got to the outside. An excellent start to this race. Willis wants that clean air in this ARCA car. You do not want to be behind somebody. So he made work of that. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah, that was a very odd start. It's on green on the initial start in iRacing, and it just seemed like Mike Howerton wasn't ready to go. Philip Willis got on the gas, got the lead away, so not the first time this season Howerton's gotten pole and not led the first lap, but we know how much speed he has at these mile-and-a-halves.
He's been bad fast. He has a collection of wins so far at the midway point of the season, but still chasing that 74 Brian Hennings. But tonight, the way things are shaping up, problems for the 12. Jason Lyon into the wall. He comes back up the racetrack.
Brian Hennings is in it, points leader.
Nitro Viper with contact off at turn 2. Down the inside wall in the backstretch, and the Pimax 12 is destroyed.
That was a huge hit for Lyon. I don't know how. I don't know who else that was. I think Conde, he saved it, but huge hit for the 12 and the points leader and Lyon. They're both going to have to take fast repairs pretty early.
He's limping that car back to pit road, but here's the contact.
Wow. And it just shot him right back into traffic. Nowhere for Hennings to go.
707 there of Dave Collins. Getting the worst of that.
Who the other car was, I couldn't tell.
It's the 18.
I guess it was Collins. Chase Rockford.
That was Conde.
Yeah, Conde, they just made contact off the corner. I couldn't quite see why, but it just shot Lyon right into the inside wall, and it shot him back into traffic. I believe Chase Rockford was the other car involved I didn't see, but we'll see what Lyon sees, if he sees anything. I mean, these cars hit the wall in iRacing, they shoot across the track in a hurry, and there's not a lot of room down the backstretch in Charlotte. Almost looked like Conde maybe came down, couldn't quite tell, but that car just comes shooting back across the track. There's really nothing Jason Lyon could do to avoid that.
And, man, that's tough there, but let's go on board with the 10. Watch how fast this happens.
He doesn't even see it until now. There's a car shooting across the track. He just got to get as low as he can. Then he's got to get up because David Collins can't steer. Did a great job getting by that, the 10 did.
So Greg Spiker makes it through, and this, of course, with a fast repair, it introduces a strategy to this race, and you have to burn it. If you're the 10 or the 12 rather of Jason Lyon, the 707, you have to use that fast repair. The car is just not going to be out on the racetrack if you don't. But if you were slightly involved in that, Connor, I don't know what your opinion is, but I think I'm going to save it for the back pocket. This is way too early in the race to burn it now.
Definitely depends how much damage you got. I'd say pretty much everyone who was involved in that instant had to use it. So we got Lyon, he'll take his fast repair. Collins will take theirs. Brian Hennings, like we mentioned, the points leader involved, had to take theirs. I don't think there was any minor damage on that one. Everyone had to take one if they were involved in it. But yeah, I mean, if you get a minor damage on your, your splitter or...
Welcome back here live. I think we have the problem resolved. I know that there was a little hiccup there, a little interruption, but that was definitely on purpose. We were trying to get everything sorted back out. Now, looks like everything's smooth. Watching a battle for 10th position. Who's going to get the best of it? Husband and wife. 10th and 11th position here at Charlotte.
Don't want to take each other out. That's the number one rule, I would think, them racing each other. You don't want to have to talk about it after the race, but that's a good battle. Don Green got a few laps in. Philip Willis continues to lead. This is big for him if he can get positions on Brian Headings by the end of this race, but still a long way to go. A lot of at least one pit stop to go, maybe two. We'll have to wait and see how the fuel shakes out, but the battle for second is intense right now. They are all over each other. Condé, Howerton, Dane Shivers, all right there.
But you know who's not right there? It's the leader starting to pull away. Philip Willis with 2 excellent starts to this race. That restart, another great jump. It looks like Willis has got this figured out. And actually been on the outside on the initial start. Julian Condé, who was part of that contact with the 12 car, looks like worked up to the 2nd position, going after Philip Willis.
I still don't exactly know what happened with Condé. It looked like he came off the wall and they just made contact, but Condé got away with it, made a good save to keep it off the inside wall, kept his race car intact, and got some good speed. He gained about a 10th last time on Philip Willis, but the third year is going to be pretty hard to fight through. Not a lot of off throttle time here at this racetrack. You're going to be probably out of a throttle for maybe crash! Another one in the inside wall. That was Dan Charles.
Dan Charles to the inside. We're staying green.
Third in points, and he's not going to get the yellow. 1 car incident, and it will not be thrown.
Trying to run the Roval there.
That thing is done. It's going to be tough to get that thing back to get the faster pair. He'll go laps. He'll be back in the race, but he's going to go laps down.
To the inside, that's Teresa Spiker to the outside. 25.
Oh, they just got bulldozed.
Teresa Spiker just came down the racetrack there.
Yeah, not sure what that was for. Didn't see any contact between the two, but that just looked like bulldozing someone into the inside wall. Charles is going to get that towed out thing back to pit road. But you can see how hard he hit on the left rear suspension. Completely knocked it out of line. And he'll go at least 2, maybe 3 or more laps down, just trying to get it to the pit stall.
I don't know if that's going to work, but yeah, it did. Looks like they're going to start service on that car. Like you said, going to go down a few laps. Julian Condé, a big run there on the entry of the corner. That's deceitful. When you see Condé push it that deep into the corner, you know that right front's burning off. Philip Willis, maybe not mirror driving at this point, not that much pressure, but when you see Condé gain that much on the entry, you know your exit's going to be good.
Your eyes get a little wider when you see someone behind you push that deep into the corner, that's for sure. But like you said, he's not really under much pressure. Condé's just driving the car a lot harder into the corner, and you'll see it right there, even going up the track a little bit. I would think Condé's tires will probably fall off. Willis in that clean air, his tires should stay good, and he should be in a good spot. But remember, fuel limit's 65%, so we really don't go through that many laps before you have to pit for fuel, let alone the tires. So it's possible Condé pushing the tires this hard. Maybe it won't hurt him too much, but you never want to hurt them too much to the point where you're going to be falling back again. You want to pit with track position.
So things fully cleared up. I'm going to bump that crispy bit rate back up. Connor, how many times have we had to battle this in the last 2 weeks? I think it's my ISP. It has to be. I don't know what else.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
I feel like it's more.
It's been back and forth. I thought I had the solution to it, but you know, it resurfaces every couple weeks. There's a new problem. So the first solution is let's just lower the amount of things that I'm trying to send to the internet. And then the next thing is, well, I guess I got to do some more tech repair. And, you know, I need a hotline here at V-Speed. What's wrong with the connection tonight?
Your own personal IT expert.
Yeah. Battle for the top 5 is tight right now. Wow.
It's almost like Philip Willis has his own blocker, and it's Julian Condé. He's not trying to block, but he can't get close enough to really challenge Willis for the lead unless he drives in that deep. Honestly, surprised Philip Willis is giving him that clean air to the bottom and actually let Conde close in a little bit. But Conde can't close in to really battle, and it's holding up Shivers all the way back to Doug Helfer in that battle for 5th with him and Howerton.
You're watching Benjamin Richards battle for this 3rd position. Very, very close there off of turn 4. Wasn't able to get the drive off. I believe that was the 13 of Dane Shivers getting to the outside for the time being, but back to the inside again for the 56.
And Conde lost a lot of
contact.
time. Ooh, a little bit of contact there back there. That was help for Howerton. A little bit, battle for 5th. Shivers a little bit too far up the track. Tried to run that high line. It is really tough to make that work without hitting the outside walls. A lot of bumps on the top part of the racetrack in 3 and 4, and it stunted his momentum. Howerton's going to try to get that 4th position.
You're now watching a battle for the 4th position. Shivers and a big run here from Howerton down the back straight away. He'll get to the inside of Benjamin Richards into 3.
Yeah, most of these guys stayed out, so they'd have to make it to lap 35 on this tank to have a chance at making it to the end on 1 stop. So we'll see how far away from pit stops we may or may not be, especially with how hard they're battling.
And that lead, kind of surprised, but it's heating up. Thought maybe Conde was overdriving the car, but he is sticking with Philip Willis. And they're about, I would say, 10, 15 laps into this stint here. Conde is trying his best to get to the inside of the 33. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Battle for 3rd spot. Richards still holding on.
Yeah, there's every now and then Philip Willis is just giving Julian Conde the bottom. He's actually pretty content running the middle part of the racetrack, but it's giving Conde all that clean air on the bottom of the racetrack to make that line work, regardless of how hard he drives it in to turn 1 or turn 3. If I was him, I'd be shutting that bottom line off. Conde wasn't really finding anything on the high side of the racetrack, but he's giving him clean air every now and then.
You continue to watch that battle for 3rd spot. Benjamin Richards still to the outside. Similar to what you were talking about, given that inside line, I don't think Richards has a choice as he'll send it in to turn 1. Drive off on the outside of turn 2. Gonna hold it there. Drag race down the back stretch for 3rd.
See, Howerton's twitching down the back straightaway. He's trying to get that side draft on the left rear quarter panel going into the corner to maybe make a slide job type of move on the exit of the corner. He tried pushing the 56 out of room. He just couldn't do it. And you see how he's cheating up the racetrack, trying to get that left rear side draft. It just didn't work. And he ran himself out of room almost in the tri-oval through those dog legs.
That's going to open up the door on board with Dane Shivers and the 13. 51 gets a good run. It's the exits of the corner for the 51 machine. With the 13 patiently waiting, has Doug Helfer, Jeffrey Hunter. And you go back to Anthony Edrington in this battle back in the 8th position.
Brian Hennings, he's worked his way up after having to take that fast repair. He's up to 9th, trying to fight through this battle, but Hunter Edrington side by side, kind of slowing that progress, but he's been pretty darn fast the last few laps. He's running top 3 lap times in traffic, or at least last lap he did, so it shows how much speed he's gotten at 74. He's going to pretty much push Jeffrey Hunter by Edrington and try to pick up a spot that way.
That's your points leader on board with Hennings to the outside of Jeffrey Hunter. Completes the pass, lap 27. Almost some contact between the 77 and the 15. Top 5 or top 6 really have left this field a little bit. It's a gap of about 1.2 seconds from 7th to 6th spot. I think what that boils down to is they haven't been racing quite as hard for the top 6 versus these guys back here. It's been side by side since the green.
Yeah, side by side since the green. You are starting to see separation though. Those top 3 have really gotten away. Benjamin Richards, I think his pace has fallen off and it's holding up Dane Shivers and Doug Helfer a little bit. You can see the gap once Mike Howerton cleared for that 3rd position, how the gap got big and they almost made contact for that 4th spot, with Shivers kind of sliding up the racetrack. But you can see how much faster Brian Hennings is than that group of 3 cars. He's going to blow by the 13 like it's nothing, basically. He's got a lot of speed.
Gonna keep going here. Now remember, 74 cars started back in the 14th position. We were a little bit worried about that, but it looks like back to the top 5 here in just a moment.
I mean, last time by, he ran a 2.99 while Philip Willis ran a 4.61. So he did probably, you know, if he took tires, it probably didn't matter that much because obviously the wear was only about a lap and a half. The fuel that he had, the extra fuel that he has could end up coming into play. We'll see how the fuel window kind of shakes up. We're about 5 laps away from halfway, but 74 looks good.
And make a pass for 4th position, gets to the inside. High entry into 1, a low exit into 2. Inside of the 56 of Richards, and a pass for 4th position. Doug Helfer going to try to follow suit.
Richard's just not fast. He's not getting out of the corner
wall.
with any speed. And he hit the wall right there. It just looks like the right front is gone off that car. Every time he gets to the corner exit, the car just goes completely straight. Makes me think he might have a right front tire going down, basically, with how bad the wear situation looks to me. Right here, you'll see that car you can kind of see Hennings is able to stay pointed at a turn 2, and Ben Richards' car just keeps sliding, pushing up the racetrack, I should say. Just no grip in that car right now.
Battle continues here between the Spikers. 13th, 14th position. Teresa Spiker pulling away from the 10 car, and Fiedler in the top 15 and the 66. Don't count him out for a top 10, though. He has been very patient this season. He's going to work his way back up there, I have a feeling.
Have to wait and see. It's quick races, so you don't really have the time that you probably would want or need to get back to the front after having some issues at the start, like Mike Chivers. He started from the pits. He's not really able to make much ground up. Fiedler's 15th. You got the guys who are laps down from taking fast repairs. There's not a lot of time to make stuff up. There's a car in the grass spinning on the front straightaway. It's Dane Chivers.
Gonna stay green here at the halfway mark. No caution for that. Single car spin. Take it back on a V-speed.
Oh, they just crashed again.
97's upside down. That's Christian Key. That's going to bring out a yellow. He's going to have to tow it to pit road.
What in the world was that?
We'll show you on board with the 97.
And Key was so far behind. And Chivers started getting away. Oh, man, it looked like, I don't know, it looked to me that Dane Chivers maybe tried to hit the gas hard and just completely lost it. I'm not sure what else could have been done. I can't imagine. That would have been crazy to do that on purpose, to destroy your own race like that, let alone someone else's. The only explanation I could think of is he tried to gas it up after spinning in the hot tires. They just completely, lit up, and he just went right into the path of Christian Key.
This is back. This is around the 6th, 7th position.
6, 7?
Oh my.
Sorry.
I don't even
He
know
just
what
hit
I
the
just
wall.
did.
Dane Chivers, I mean, he just hit the wall and came across, I think that was Anthony Edrington. He spun, no yellow, tries to get back going. And I think right around here he hits the gas hard, and then you see it kind of break out from under him right there, and he came right into the path of Christian Key.
Yeah, I think he tried to get back on the throttle there.
That's you better hope that holds up. I mean, it definitely would have looked like here in Garden Gaps. You can see right there he lost it, but really, that's still a big mistake.
And of course, Dane, kind of new to the iRacing service, and right around a 1,000 I rating. Not to call him out, but still, you gotta kind of call that spade a spade. A little bit new, and so you kind of give some of these drivers the benefit of the doubt when it comes to things like that. It's just a simple mistake that you learn from. Philip Willis came down pit road. Jerry Conley stayed out on the racetrack 30 laps into the stint. We'll have the 22 car on the restart here.
See if he just gets out of the way like he did at Pocono. We've seen this from Connolly before.
Laps led.
Gotta get them.
Well, we have a moment here on V-Speed to find a driver in this broadcast booth. Connor, I'm going to leave it up to you. Whoever you want to pull in, I'm ready.
Say he's I'd say he's had a pretty up and down day so far. I think Brian Hennings would be a good talking to. Let's give him to you right here.
Brian Hennings, it's Bradley Cooper calling for, and you got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Well, Brian, Connor alluded to it. I'm going to talk about it. You started a little bit mid-pack here, and a little bit deeper than we expected you to. You had a mistake.
Poked on my cue.
Yeah, had a mistake there and put you a little bit deep in this field. You've worked your way up, though, and now you're in the top 3.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys probably didn't see it because I know you don't see every little thing. But I even had a window pop up. HP Smart popped up and iRacing disappeared off my screen. And I hit the wall. But hey, didn't give me wheel damage and we're still alive. So yeah, this is fun.
If it's not iRacing, uninstall it. That's my philosophy.
Right.
Well, you're lining back up. We're doubled back up here on the midway point of this race. You're midway through your situation. You started mid-pack. Good luck, man. I know that this car's got some speed based off your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, 74 car going to restart here on the inside of row number 2. Get him back there where he is communicating with the team. And Brian Hennings looking good so far. Gained 10 positions, 11 spots. I know this is still early in this race. A lot of things can go wrong. But we are lined back up. And Mike Howerton, man, that was a lag back. Here we go for our third start of the night. Howerton on the inside. Willis, who's led every single lap. Green flag back underway. Howerton loose.
Oh. Not sure what that was. Just swerved the wheel and lost it on top of kind of laying back a row. It was a really weird start, but it's another start that goes in Philip Willis's way.
Yeah, it goes in Philip Willis's way to jump 4 positions. Howerton falls back to 5th now because of that restart.
This is going to be an interesting kind of run to the finish. We'll probably have 34 laps to the end. It seemed like everyone was going to make it a one-stop race, so I would assume everyone can make it on fuel. But the tires are going to have to last pretty long to make it this far to the end if we go green.
It's a tall order, but a battle on the rebound. Benjamin Richards has shown short run pace. Going to get to the 3rd, 4th position rather, and Richards up high. Has been working that high line really well. I think the high line, though, at this racetrack, it's deceitfully fast. You've seen different approaches to it. I think clean air is where you want to be.
Definitely seen that. I don't think anyone else has led a lap besides maybe under caution, but Philip Willis has been at the front the entire time, and he's looked pretty sharp and pretty decisive in how he's kept that clean air. He's given Condé the bottom, but Condé can't really do anything about it because Willis can just pinch him down to the bottom if he gets any sort of run. Just Condé get a little bit of a run, a little bit of a push from Hennings, but really nowhere to go with it unless Willis gives him the bottom. See right there, he's going to give him the bottom, but Willis has been fine with giving him the bottom because Condé just can't throttle up through the center to exit like he needs to make a run at that 33. I'm sure that's something Brian Hennings sees and he wants to change because he probably thinks he has the fastest cars. Condé just drives it so much harder than everyone else. With that exit, he gives it all up, and he gave up a lot there.
We were talking about the points in the pre-race, but I want to reestablish that how close it was at Talladega going into week number 6 and halfway point versus what it is now. And when you take those points and you cycle them out, everybody has one asterisk in the season. I think last week was Philip Willis's asterisk. I think he just had that bad night that you're going to have one of them every time.
Especially at a super speedway. I mean, he can't really escape things at Talladega, and he certainly didn't. He was involved in pretty much everything that we saw at that race. And, this is, I think he'd be one to say that this is a real racetrack. I think he'd take the Kyle Busch method. But, like we've seen at so many races, he is pretty darn fast this week, kind of rebounding from that bad race he had at Talladega. He didn't lead at Dega, just didn't get the breaks, didn't get through the crashes, but he looks good right now. But he's going to have to battle this 74 by the end because he's trying to make that pass on Conde, but we see how tough that pass is to make on the inside.
They kind of giving him a taste of what he's been receiving from the 33 of Willis, and this time around, Henning's going to dial it back on the entry of turn 1 and kind of concede that position. Fast pace here for Benjamin Richards for the 3rd spot through your top 10 with Doug Helfer, Jeffrey Hunter, Mike Howerton in the 5th position. You have John Kokenberg in the 98. Gained 3 positions to be here. Anthony Edrington, and then just John Hudson in the 3 car, 13 positions up.
He's doing a good job getting through the field. Really haven't talked about him much. Brian Hennings, like we said, he's up 11 positions. Rick Spiker's up about 8, but John Hudson, at least in the, to my count, up 14 positions. On my count, started 24th. He didn't put a time down, so one of those drivers who didn't get to qualify. He's come from the back. He's done a pretty darn good job.
I think our telemetry is still working correctly. I know that we had some bugs to fix, and thankfully I didn't have to shut down everything and break it entirely. But we're coming up on, what, 35 to go, 25 to go? This is
25, next time by.
Race is going by quickly. Philip Willis leading the vast majority of these laps. And there it is, the telemetry on the left-hand side, 170 miles per hour. Probably going to hit 183, 184 before the corner. There you go.
Conde hits 190. He was getting shoved down the front stretch the entire time for Brian Hennings. I think that's Brian Hennings giving him a sign saying, hey, I need to go. As there is contact back there for the 7th position. Kokenberg and Jeffrey Hunter were roughing each other up, and now we were 3 wide with John Hudson, and Kokenberg wants none of that.
No. And contact there with the 15 and the 3. That was Hunter and Hudson.
2 good wrench cars trying to get by the same driver. And Jeffrey Hunter, you saw how tight he got to the right rear quarter panel. He did not want to give that spot up.
Hunter holds on for the time being on the outside for 7th position. Starting to lose a little bit of ground to this top 6. Again, we've seen this a couple times, and Doug Helfer has been the consistent one at the tail end of this.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The ARCA car works like this. You'll get kind of packs here and there, even at the 1.5 mile racetracks. You're seeing that pack led now by John Hudson, but you're also seeing this pack led by Philip Willis. And Willis is doing a good job controlling the race. Not really. That's one thing he's doing at the front. Even though he's in clean air, he's not pushing his stuff. He's keeping his rear bumper right in front of the 18 of Conde, wearing his tires out, wearing everyone else's tires out behind him. And that's making it really tough for Brian Hennings to make a move. He keeps trying to over-under, kind of the diamond out of the corner, but it's not working. He's got stuck in dirty air at the wall a little bit, but 33 and the 18, they're just kind of playing hard to get right now, especially that 33.
Watching a position battle for the top 10. It's Greg Spiker there in the 10th position. Anthony Edrington, Jeff Hunter, John Hudson. That's the top of this group. You go back here to Kelly Walton, side by side with the 98 of Kokenberg. Yeah, Mike Shivers in the 5.
Jeffrey Hunter just got a hip check. Oh man, Jeffrey Hunter's getting used up. Edrington just pretty much drove Jeffrey Hunter out of the groove. Go, car on the inside wall.
That's Mike
Look
Shivers.
Out. Oh, he saved it. He's still on track. Look out. Here comes Christian Key. He almost hit both of it, Shivers.
I think that contact was the culprit here coming into turn 1.
I mean, these guys have been bouncing off each other for about 3 laps. I mean, it was bound to happen to someone, and not sure. He just checked up through the tri-oval dogleg, and Kokenberg got into him. Not sure why he checked up like that, but it completely, I think, took Kokenberg by surprise.
There was a 3 wide, and we witnessed that.
I've seen a slide job in a dog leg. That's kind of what it looked like. They're all over the place everywhere. I mean, that's not the extent of it. Both of these top packs, I mean, are all over each other. Mike Howerton, Richards, Hennings, all over each other.
Hennings losing a little bit of ground, though, and I think dirty air. Watched Hennings drive through, and almost some contact there between Mike Howerton and Benjamin Richards out of 2.
There was contact with him and Richards. Mike Howerton probably frustrated with how he did on that restart, trying to get back through the field, or really trying to get back through this main pack. But it's proving difficult. I mean, it just seems like, I don't know if it's the limited amount of laps or maybe it's just the ARCA car in general, but not a lot of off-throttle time. Oh, there was some big contact between Helfer and Howerton now. Now that 51's got right rear damage, but just something with this car, I think, lack of off-throttle time making it really hard to make these passes work, and you're not really seeing a second lane, a top lane, really come into play at all.
Riding on board with Benjamin Richards in the 4th position. Watching Brian Hennings ahead, and when you're in this kind of spot where you have that dirty air, Connor, it's really difficult to have that self-discipline of keeping clean air on the nose and backing up your corners, letting a little bit of give and take. You know, Howerton might be a little bit faster, but readjust your line. It's so much of just racing your race and not letting the guys around you get in your head.
That's definitely what Philip Willis has done. He hasn't let anyone get to him at all, either on track or in his head. I mean, he's done exactly what he's needed to do. And I think one thing that's been important in that, he's kept Julian Conde second. He's let Conde kind of have that clean air to the bottom and maybe keeping his tires in check the way he wants so he can keep second so he doesn't get passed by Brian Hennings or someone else in this line of 5. I mean, he's done everything he's needed to do as well. And Brian Hennings, probably not happy, but he's controlled what he can. He had the bad qualifying. He had the crash, had to take the fast repair. He's done pretty well considering the situation he was put into. He's still got a shot at the top 3 here. Howerton's going to try to stick it through the middle. That's not going to work, but 74 has done exactly, I think, what he needs to do as far as a title fight. You're not going to win every race, but you can sure lose it pretty badly, and he's doing a good job limiting the damage if it ends this way.
He's been one of the consistent drivers. I believe the top 10 streak continued from Talladega, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he did. He definitely, I think he got a top 5. 5th or 6th, somewhere around there at Talladega.
Almost some contact there for the 5th position. Benjamin Richards, Mike Howerton, side by side. Howerton going to take the high line. Richards going to dedicate to the low again. Can't drive off turn 2. Howerton going to get the run down the backstretch. And there's the 51 now peeking to the inside. Henning's going to block it a little bit.
A little bit of a block. You can tell he was pretty decisive, got to the bottom pretty early. I think we're seeing one little mistake from Hennings. I think he drove his stuff off too early trying to get by Conde. He just doesn't have the pace right now. Conde and the 33 Philip Willis, they both pulled away.
Yeah, we're looking at about half a second. It's 3/10. I think we're going to half a second for both of them now. I think Conde's used his stuff up. I don't know exactly how much tire is left in that right front, but I think Conde is probably done.
Yeah, just looking at the time, since they restarted, Philip Willis's fastest lap was about a 29.5. He's about 0.8 of a second off of that. So that's kind of a general how much fall off they have. Julian Conde, he's about the same length off. 0.8 of a second will fall off. If there's a late yellow, you might take 2 tires. It's a lot of fall off, but maybe not enough to go for 4 tires. Be kind of like what we saw at Pocono at the end of this race. So I'm sure that's at least going through a few drivers' minds right now. Brian Hennings might want 4 tires, though, because he's struggling. Mike Howerton's going to get 3rd, and these drivers about 7th on back also struggling for grip.
And some of these battles have migrated deeper into the field. We're splitting off. There was a little bit of contact there. I jumped to it with Frank Chavez, John Hudson, Kelly Walton in that battle for 7th position. And then you have John Kokenberg. This is the top 10. Anthony Edrington about 1.4 seconds ahead. John Kokenberg, Jeffrey Hunter. And a close battle back here with Dane Charles in the 96. But he is battling for a position with the 5. 2 laps down.
Shivers 2 laps down. Dan Charles, I suppose, is also 2 laps down. Neither of them will get the lucky dog right now. Dane Shivers would be in line for right now, the only driver a lap down. So just battling for a formality in position, I suppose, as things are starting to get maybe a little bit more spread out. Really not many side-by-side battles. This is probably the closest one for about 18th or 19th, somewhere around there. But As we've gotten further on the tires are kind of wearing a lot more. More drivers are getting a lot more off throttle time because that right front's probably dying at this point. Everyone's starting to really spread out. We just saw a pass for 6th, though. Doug Helfer just lost a spot to Frank Chavez. I think Helfer got damaged when he hit the 51 of Howerton. He's been dropping ever since.
Yeah, you can see it there on that left front.
It doesn't look like a lot, but aero damage in these cars is pretty severe, especially when there's not that much off throttle time. You get a little bit of fender damage, especially on the front end. Front end damage, rear bumper damage, those are the 2 killers. It's going to completely ruin your downforce. You're not going to have as much speed down the straightaways either, so he's really struggling for grip right now. He's a pretty far ways off time-wise because of it.
'64 has Kelly Walton in the 818 looking for 7th position. Up 2 spots now for the 818. Moving to the inside of 1 and 2. Clear. And in the closing laps, approaching 5 to go, Philip Willis has put on a clinic. Fastest car on the racetrack all night long. Didn't even let the pole sitter lead a lap here tonight.
Yeah, Mike Hampton's going to be kicking himself. It's the second time, at least the second time in this season, that's been the case for him specifically, where he'd get the pole and I believe not lead a lap. So it's something he's probably going to be kicking himself for, but even though he restarted on the front row, he's probably a little disappointed. P3 is not too bad of a result, and this speaks for how important track position is. The guys who ended up qualifying 1, 2, 3 have stayed 1, 2, 3, and you got Doug Helfer, the only one falling back out of the top 4, mainly because he has damage. But those top 3 have stayed almost exactly where they started.
Early exit here tonight for Jason Lyon, 24th position. Teresa Spiker 4 laps down. Christian Key, if David Collins, Dan Charles, all more than 1 lap down. Dane Shivers is going to be the first car for free pass position in 17th, with 16 cars still on the lead lap and 23 cars out on the racetrack. VRX World Cup with Philip Willis, 4 to go.
And Conde's really starting to fade. Howerton's going to have a look. He just kind of crossed the 18 over a little bit. They're both tight out of the corner. They even hit a little bit out of turn number 2.
A lot of contact there. Howerton trying to work that 2nd position. Brian Hennings has fallen back to 5th. So for Philip Willis, this is a picture-perfect night to make up some points in those final 5 races.
About all he could ask for, really. You knew Brian Hennings was probably going to get back through the field, but Hennings, kind of stalled a little bit with the tire wear, and he's done a pretty good job just getting to the top 5, but Philip Willis has done an even better job keeping his track position. There's a little bit of a crash. There's a crash in turn 1, and there's a caution, and it's not over yet. Kenneth Blackburn and John Hudson have crashed.
With 3 laps to go, this will send us into overtime. John Hudson, contact back and around the top 10.
It's never over till it's over.
Played till the whistle.
Should have known.
98-3.
Good wrench cars
Good
going
wrench
at
cars.
it.
Yep.
Oh,
There can only be one.
you got intimidated for sure. I mean, Kokenberg just came up the track
wow.
and turned him.
Was that Key?
I think
No,
that was Kenneth Blackburn, who I think looked that he got damage out of it, but the car doesn't look too bad. Might have gotten away with it. Bree just kind of came up the track, trying to hold the brakes, and looks like he got away with it somehow. But that is exactly not what the 33 wanted to see. It's Philip Willis. I think he blinked out, so he's gonna have to get back in line.
He's good. I think he's good now.
Oh my gosh! Imagine if it went green and that happened.
Everybody's coming down pit road here. We're 34 laps on the stint. I'm taking 4. I'm not gonna chance this. Everybody's coming in.
I think you're gonna see. You might see 1 or 2 chances. I think you might see 2 tires at the least. Collins is a lap down. Mike Shivers is a lap down. Kelly Walton's gonna stay out. And I think Kelly Walton is not gonna be on an island chase. Rockford also stayed out. And everyone else either getting 2 or 4.
For Philip Willis, this is my call here. I'm taking 4. I don't think I take 2. Right front is probably toast at this point.
could see 2 tires. I think we're going to see people take 2. And
Oh,
Willis
wow.
took 2. Was he the only one, though? Looks like Conde took 2 as well. No, yeah. I think Conde took 2 as well. I think everyone else took
Little
4
more
tires,
fuel.
though.
I think Conde took more fuel than he intended.
I'll be honest, I like 2 tires if there's a majority of people doing it because you want to keep your track position because too many drivers on 2 tires will bury you back. I mean, we saw that in the title race in the real life Cup series, but that was not only the top 2, or first and third took 2. Everyone else is on 4, I believe. Maybe
Well,
Doug Helfer took 2, but
You
yeah,
only
Doug
have to
Helfer took
hold
2 as
on
well.
to it for 2 laps here, Connor, and you have 2 cars that stayed out with Kelly Walton and Chase Rockford. What are their chances?
I would say this is going to be different from Pocono because the fall off of Pocono actually wasn't that bad. This has been pretty harsh fall off, 9/10 of a second in about 30 laps or so. I don't really like their chances, but only 2 green-white checkers is you get a yellow on attempt 1 and 2, and you might steal one possibly. One of those 2 could steal it, but I think if it goes green, we get a full green-white checkered attempt. I don't like their chances, and I don't know if I like Willis or Conde's chances. I kind of like where Mike Howerton is here, but we've seen him mess up the restart on the previous one, so it could be anyone's race really. But I don't think a driver who stayed out wins this race.
It'll be chaos, to say the least, with the 818, the 71, no tires, 36 laps on the stint to run this thing out. Philip Willis on 2, Mike Howerton on 4. Then you have Julian Conde on 2 with a little bit of extra fuel. Looking through the timers on pit road, Brian Hennings took 4, and pretty much everybody from 7th on back is on 4 tires.
I believe Doug Helfer's on 2. Let's see.
Yep.
I don't think anyone else did, really. I think everyone else is on the same strategy.
Well, we kind of talked about Talladega being the dice roll. This could be the one right here. This is the gamble for the front row. And if you are Kelly Walton, you're hoping that Chase Rockford stays to your outside and we hold the rest of this field up for as long as possible to that white flag. Gonna have to defend with 35 lap order tires. Kelly Walton will be your leader on this restart. Green-white checkered attempt number 1 at Charlotte.
Oh, big stack up on the top. Walton got a pretty good start, but Philip Willis timed it great. But Howerton did as well, as they're in the wall in the background, already crashing, yellows out. Greg Spiker's wrecked. The 155's in it. Looks like 2 others are in it. Mike Shivers, Dane Shivers, both involved. That's the one attempt Kelly Walton wanted.
Yep.
One more of those, they're gonna win this race. This is completely unorganized at the back, which probably contributes to this.
And the 10 car runs into the back of the 22 into the 96, and there you have it.
I'm not sure how that happened, honestly. Just a huge checkup somewhere. You got some drivers not going. It looks like Jerry Connolly wasn't going, and one of the spikers just ran into the back of him. And that got a lot of drivers involved. Poor Dan Charles, who has been wrecked since the very first yellow, he's going to be out of this race.
Watch right here. I think Kokenberg might find your answer right here.
Connolly's laying back a lot too. Just they completely unorganized on this restart. And then you see the top line stack of Kokenberg stops because of that. Kind of just pretty off pace. Nowhere for Dan Charles to go. John Hudson was in it as well.
A tough break here for Dane.
And Kelly
Shivers.
Walton is gonna pit.
He's going to run out of fuel.
It had to be the case. Kelly Walton pits, Chase Rockford pits. They must have both been low on fuel. Wow. That is surprising.
71 comes in with Chase Rockford. These drivers just couldn't make it for another green-white checkered attempt. I think I don't know. I don't know what that would have looked like.
I
But
guess
at
they had
that
enough
point,
with 2 green flag laps.
I mean, at that point, I think Connor,
You just stay. You just
yeah,
go
you just
for
gotta
it.
get go. I mean, you pray that another caution comes out, and then you just clutch. I know what the relative's telling you, but that's based off of green flag laps. If you have a decimal point right now, 0.9, 0.8, you hope that you hit that restart, and then you're coasting around this racetrack if another caution comes out. This hands it back to Philip Willis, and I think you were right, Connor. I'm starting to like where Mike Howerton is now.
We just needs to get a good restart. If he can keep pace with, and Brian Hennings is right there as well. I mean, those are two drivers on 4 tires who are really fast on the short run. So Willis is going to have to be on his game. He might have to hope for a yellow to come out to end the green-white checker because he's going to be in a rough spot. I don't really get that from Kelly Walton's perspective. They were in 7th position before the yellow came out. You know, if you're going to risk it for the win, I think you go full commitment. Backing out of this is going to lose them a lot of positions, what they would have had. They probably would have came out around 8th position if they just took 4 tires. I don't hate it from Chase Rockford's perspective. Chase Rockford stayed out from the 15th position, so he's really not losing anything out of this. Matter of fact, if you think about it that way, it got him out of the crash, so it might end up working for him. But, you know, if you're going to go for it, you got to full commit, and especially from Walton, but for Rockford too, especially for Walton, I would have stuck it out. We'll see how this restart goes, though. We'll see what Mike Howerton does. I mean, we saw him when he was front row in the last restart. He was kind of laying back where he is right now, a car length back, which I don't really get, but we'll see if things get tightened up here.
Yeah, he's going to have to tighten up if he wants any shot at it. He's going to have to stay to that inside. The 4 tires will be an advantage, but you've watched all night long. The outside line for the 33 car has worked, and if he gets the advantage going into turn 1, he's going to give dirty air to that car, make sure that they can't set up a run off the exit of the corner. That's the main thing, is if Philip Willis gets another excellent restart, he will be the command car. He's on the outside. He's comfortable with that outside line. I think that's going to work in his favor. But it's coming down to this, and if you're Philip Willis, you're kind of dreading what happened there, because I think Brian Hennings probably would have ended up at best in 5th position. Now it's back to 4th with fresh tires on the inside line. He's hoping Howerton gets a good restart. Here we go for green-white checkered attempt number 2. Final one of the night. Can we run it out to the white flag? But the green flag is out. 2 to go. And a big jump here for the 33.
Hitting at the back, they kept it straight, stayed green, but they're side by side. Howerton might get clear if he gets a push from Hennings. Looks like he'll get clear. And if they can get back around, maybe he has a chance, but he just laid back a lot on that restart.
Car in the wall in the background will stay green. Almost from 3 wide into 3. One more time around. If they come out of turn 4, can they get the white flag? 3 wide off the corner.
Whoa,
Car in the
Hennings.
wall. Hennings is around.
White flag's out. They crashed big at the start-finish line, but we got the white flag.
Hennings is going to drop all the way back.
There's 2 cars upside down back there. Hennings got about 5th, though, but Phil Willis got the restart he needed.
That's the 3 of Hudson that's upside down into the entry of 1. But Philip Willis off of turn 4. He bests the pole sitter. Hennings in the wall. He's going to lose a spot across the line. Winner here tonight.
Oh, my goodness. What a crazy finish. Goodness, Hennings got that spot back because Greg Spiker, who crashed before the white flag, got in Jeffrey Hunter's way, so Willis finished, or excuse me, Hennings finished 4th. There's mangled cars everywhere, but Philip Willis would have led every lap, but he still dominated that one.
Well done for the 33. He showed everyone how to get around Charlotte Motor Speedway here tonight with Mike Howerton and Julian Conde. And a car off the wall there.
I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger crash coming through the trioval at Charlotte. I mean, that was pretty much everyone that was left on the lead lap besides maybe 5. Julian Conde, I think he'll take a P3 out of that. Ran top 3 all race. Mike Howerton, we'll see what he feels about that.
Post-race interviews with your top three, but real quick, while we have a moment, we're going to take it back on an instant replay.
There was a lot happening once they took the light. I mean, there were cars everywhere back there. I don't even know who it started with. I saw the 56, I think, get turned first. Hennings had to hit the wall. I think they got 3 wide, and then they just hit. Look at these hits. And then here comes the 3. Jerry Connolly just bulldozed through there. He got 6th place out of that. I believe I saw 2 cars upside down. I don't know where the other one was. But Jerry Connolly plowed through it and got a P6 out of it. I think he'll take that. He just completely bulldozed through it. Look at the chaos that happens. They get 3 wide, they're bouncing off each other. Then they have just no room for it. Huge hits there.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, he almost got through it without damage. I mean, he did get hit, but compared to what happened behind him, I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's
You
all
can see
right.
it not,
I think
you can see it not turn. I mean, he completely sheared the right front off of the thing, but he got it to the line. When Howard and Conde had a big battle, and then Brian Hennings, he just sends it in the 3. He completely missed the corner. He's going to lose that position to Jeffrey Hunter, but then one of the cars involved gets in Hunter's way and gives Hennings the boost to keep that 4th position. I've never seen anything like that.
I gotta take this out to a wide angle here. There's Hennings making the mistake. 15's got the run in there. He just...
I mean, the 10's pretty out of the way. I don't think there was anything the 10 could do there. Just trying to stay out of the way to the bottom. That was Greg Spiker. Just wrong place, wrong time. What a wild finish.
It's Philip Willis with another victory. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on V-Speed, and we'll be right back.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Back here live for race number 7 at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the VRX World Cup 2025. The World Cup Series has concluded. It's 70 laps with an additional 7 laps. Green-white checker territory here tonight. Philip Willis, he led 97% of this race. I mean, just a dominant performance from the number 33. And those final race results with 4 cautions, 4 lead changes. A short stint. Most of those cautions coming at the tail end of this race. It's Mike Howerton who started on the pole, the front 3. Trading spots all night long. Ultimately, though, it is Philip Willis who gets the best of them. We'll have an interview with Mike Howerton and Julian Conde in just a moment. But it's Brian Hennings in that final restart you saw there with Jeffrey Hunter, who had the run off of turn 4. Hennings just sent it into turn 4 exit, hit the exit wall. Hunter had the momentum, ends up running into the back of the lap down car in the 10 of Greg Spiker. He'll end up finishing 4/100ths of a second behind for 5th position. Jerry Conley, who bulldozed his way for a 6th position finish through that big wreck, he'll end up in 6th. 7th spot goes to Dane Shivers, and I bet he feels the same way as Jared Conley. It's one of those just the seas parted. And Dane, who was 2 or 3 laps down at one point, had contact very early in this race, stuck with it. He'll finish at 7th, 8th position to Ed Fiedler. I told you, Connor, don't count out that 66 for a top 10. There's an 8th spot finish. Benjamin Richards 9th, and Frank Chavez in 10th.
Yeah, pretty much everyone who was lead lap besides maybe 5 cars were in that last crash on the white flag. Kelly Walton, I believe, was involved in it as well. If they stayed out, could have been a better finish. Same thing for Chase Rockford. Instead, they get 11th and 12th, which was an improvement for Rockford where they were. John Kokenberg 13th, Doug Helfer 14th. They did not finish the race because they were in that crash. John Hudson, Greg Spiker, Mike Chivers, Anthony Edrington, the 77, Dave Collins, and Christian Key rounding out the top 20. Tough race for Key, who was pretty high in the points.
Reza Spiker going to be 4 laps down, finishing in 21st. Kenneth Blackburn finishing 6 laps down, 22nd. Dan Charles, 23rd position, 8 laps down. That's an early exit for Jason Lyon. You see Kevin Mulcahy on the screen there with Wade Palmer taking an early exit. Hope whatever is going on with that back there, hope you feel better there, Wade. I know that, working hard all your life and doing all the things that you think don't hurt you, one day it catches up to you. So hopefully you're good to go for next week. But before we get to next week, we have some drivers we need to talk to here in this top 3. The first one we're going to bring up into the broadcast booth is your race winner. It's Philip Willis adding his 4th win to the season. I think I got that right. It's 4 wins now for the 33 car. And this one is an exclamation point. You capitalized on everything you could. Most laps led, got a lap led, race win. I know that's not quite a bonus point for you, but the 33 was bad fast here tonight. You took the lead on lap 1 from the pole sitter, and you led almost every single lap from there on.
Yeah, someone told me before this race got started, run every lap like a qualifying lap. So I took that advice, and hopefully I achieved that tonight.
I don't know who gave you that advice. I don't know who that was.
That was you, of course.
Oh. Well, I don't recommend doing that, but it seemed to work out. It's usually by lap 7 or 8 that it starts to fall apart. But when you're in clean air, Philip, it is so easy to maintain. And you were running that outside line with Howerton. He was taking jabs. You had Julian Conde taking jabs, but you were so confident on that outside.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. Obviously, I was running the bottom on fresh tires, but once you started getting going, you could feel the car tighten up. And I knew that we had to change the lineup to keep that momentum going into these turns. Because if you lose the momentum here, you're done. You can't. You get overwhelmed with the traffic. So you got to do everything you can to keep the nose clean, like you talked about, in clean air, and run every lap as fast as you possibly can and stay out front.
Yeah, that's really what it was. I think the advice that I actually conveyed, I don't want to sound ignorant here on V Speed. I think it was something about start up front and lead every lap. That was exactly what you did, though.
Yeah, I missed the qualifying by just a little bit. Mike had an excellent lap. I even congratulated him on qualifying. I thought I had it until then. Matter of fact, I sent you a text and said, "Damn, I thought I had it," until Mike came in and done it. And then after I talked to him, he said he didn't do any practice laps here, so I don't know if he was prepared for the car to tighten up in this race or not. But I'm sure he learned that pretty quick.
Yeah, and that dirty air is so difficult. And I know for Mike Howerton, he's happy to come home with a second place finish, but you are the happiest of them all. You're going to make up a little bit of points that kind of puts you back in the situation you were in going into Talladega. And, you know, I talked about the asterisks. We had so many conversations prior to this race, but when you look at the points as a whole and what you're coming into from last week where you got wrecked out, this one feels pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I did. I had a disappointment week last week. I was so upset with that one because I just didn't. I have not had a good finish at super speedways here with this VRX World Cup this year. So I'm hoping to capitalize on that last one we got coming up at the end of the season at Daytona. I love Daytona, and hopefully I get a good finish here because I didn't have a good finish at first race or the second race at Daytona or last week at Talladega, but hopefully we can capitalize that on the end of the year and keep the point standings going. And who knows, maybe I can actually lead this thing.
Well, this is the moment. I know you have a lot of people that support you, and I mean, I don't need any praise. I don't think that my advice helped you. You know what you're doing out here. So go ahead and shout out the people that put the 33 car in victory lane this week.
Well, Brad, Connor, I got to thank both of y'all. I mean, y'all put on a hell of a show at V Speed, man. It's been fun to watch these replays when we go back. Y'all do an excellent job commentating this, so I can't thank y'all enough for doing this and supporting VRX simulators. They spend a lot of time putting this show on. It's a lot of hard work. I get it, and I can't thank them enough for the invitation to come out and do this. It's been a blast. But I do want to make sure that we get these sponsors thanked because they're supporting this this show every week during the season. And got to thank Bud Kicker, Pimax, Moser Racing, and of course we lost a friend Thanksgiving week. Superior performance of Mike McKay. I can't, I feel I feel so bad for the family for the loss during this holiday season. I know it's rough, so my heart goes out to them and the family and the friends at VRX. I didn't know Kevin all that well, but for what I did get to know him, he was a pretty cool guy. So I can't thank y'all enough and the sponsors for putting this together, man. It's been fun.
It's been a great time watching it and watching this points battle unfold. It's really going to come down to just a few mistakes here or there, or who capitalizes on what. This final 5 races going on to Bristol. We'll see you then.
Yeah, I can't wait for Bristol. I love that place. So we'll see what happens. And I do want to give a shout out to the Publix family and my mom and dad if they're watching. Thank y'all for coming out and support.
Philip Willis, 4th victory of the season. We'll see you next week when we throw shoes in the dryer.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
There you have it. First place finisher here tonight in a dominant performance. Over 70 laps led. And when you put in a race extension on here, Connor, you put a driver into a situation with 2 tires. That was something I didn't touch on there in that post-race interview, but he took 2 and he drove away half a second. So he knew what he was doing.
I mean, the clean air, I think, was king. I mean, if he doesn't take 2 tires, it's very possible Julian Conde is sitting in victory lane instead of the 33. So it ends up being the right decision. The clean air, I think he knew how strong it actually was, and he wanted to take advantage of that and get by those drivers on no tires if he had to, which thankfully for him, he didn't have to even interact with them on the track. They ended up pitting for the second attempt, and the clean air just ended up being the deciding factor even on those 2 tires.
Well, the next driver we're going to pull up into the broadcast booth is our second place finisher, Mike Howerton, your pole sitter starting out here tonight. And the conversation I had with Philip was you ran this lap. He was very impressed with it. And then you disclosed that you didn't put a lot of practice time into here. And so I think maybe Philip saw that as an opportunity, to say the least, and you maybe found out the car got really tight and dirty air.
Well, yes, that's funny. That's true. I think this is my first time I ever ran a lap on this car track combo. I think I ran 3 laps in the practice right before the race started. All in, I about fell asleep on the couch over there. My wife said, "Hey, Mike, don't you have a race?" And I was like, "Oh crap, yeah. What time is it?" And I came and got logged in and turned 3 laps in practice, and then I busted out that qualifying lap. So I got a little bit lucky. It felt good. My biggest problem was I struggled with restarts tonight. Like I was always a bit slow off the restarts, and that hurt me a bit. But no, we had a good race. Phil was definitely fast. He deserved to win. Had a great race, and me and Julian, man, we were racing real tight there the last couple laps in that green white checker before the finish, and it was real clean and real good. And yeah, it ended up turning out real good for me. Finished second. I needed this tonight. It seems like each week I'm either on the podium or I get crashed out, one of the two. And so I need to find an equilibrium or just find out how not to get crashed out. You know what I mean?
Well, the equilibrium here, I think, in my opinion, is don't wait until your wife wakes you up. That is never a good
That's
sign.
true. That is very true. Because then you're half asleep when you start. Like I don't know how I did that qual lap. I was like, my eyes were still a little glazed over when I was trying to hit the qual lap.
But congratulations on the pole. And I know that with the way your race was going, it was kind of a roller coaster all the way through it. You end up in a top 3 situation, well deserved. You had raw pace. Finally, with that 1 lap led, we're coming down to the second half of this season. Bristol's coming up next. What's in store for us?
Yeah, I like Bristol. I mean, I think the thing at Bristol is to get out in the front and stay there, just like it is, a lot of the tracks. The thing with Bristol is getting out in front and staying there doesn't always help you because after 15 laps or 20 laps, you're going to run the lap traffic anyway. As long as we get a good long green flag run. So Bristol's tough track. There's a lot of blind corners coming out on those straights, and avoiding wrecks is going to be key. I think we'll do good at Bristol. I'm usually pretty quick there, so I'm pretty confident about my ability next week to compete with some of the guys that are points leaders like Julian and Phil and Phil. Or Brian, Julian, and Phil. So I think I can compete with those guys next week. And I think with these ARCA cars, you want to try to stay towards the bottom. You can pass on the top if you have to, but rolling that bottom helps save tires. So that's what I'm gonna be doing next week is trying to bottom feed and roll that bottom and save some tires next week, so I can give these guys everything I got.
Well, Mike, we got one more question for you. Who put this 51 car up on the podium here tonight?
Who put it? Well, let's see. We got all my folks over at Area 51 support. We run races together, help each other get faster and better. Always give them a shout out. Really appreciate these broadcasts, man. These are top notch. Just saying. I say that every time I'm on the podium, but they are impressive. I'm in some leagues and stuff, and there's broadcasting. You guys do a bang up job at V Speed. And appreciate the folks at VRX for are putting this on the World Cup again this year, in it last year, and this year's awesome as well. A lot of fun, and of course our sponsors are providing the prizes. Appreciate Pimax for sponsoring and providing a prize there for the folks in the top 3, and also Moza, Butt Kicker, and Superior Performance as well for sponsoring their Kevin's team. So appreciate all the sponsors, everybody that makes this happen. There's a lot of folks over at VRX that put a lot of hard work into making this happen. So without them, we wouldn't be here racing, wouldn't be talking to you guys, and definitely wouldn't be sitting on the podium tonight in the broadcast. So appreciate all y'all.
Excellent race here for Mike Howerton. We'll see you at Bristol Motor Speedway at the last great Coliseum in 7 days. Till then,
man, we'll see you there.
Second place finisher Mike Howerton in the 51. And we have one more driver to talk to. We're going to take it over to Connor Horn. He has caught up with Julian Conde, your third place finisher here tonight.
I do have Julian Conde, P3 for the 18. Julian, you ran pretty much second the entire race, though. Had a good run. You took 2 tires. Still wasn't quite enough to beat the 33 for the victory. What more did you need tonight to maybe take that victory from him?
I gave it everything I had. I mean, I don't usually qualify up front. I don't usually run as this good on these particular type of tracks, but it was kind of surprising to be up front and stay up front the whole time. I was just I didn't really want to push it really hard, because there were so many laps left, and I didn't want to risk, taking somebody out or causing a wreck. So I was kind of content running in second. There was a few times where he kind of left the door open, and I tried to get there, but then I started to notice that as soon as I did that, everybody behind us starting to catch up. So I was like, oh yeah, this is not a good idea. But no, it was a really good race. I was actually surprised there were that many cautions, but the car was really tight at times and sometimes a little loose. So, it's kind of, you pretty much had to make a decision whether you want to try to take the position or you just want to just chill and relax and let the laps play down and see what happens at the end.
Definitely seemed to be the case, and you did a good job maintaining the track position. Obviously, you ran a good race. Just seemed like it was, like you said, hard to make that pass without losing momentum. Did you think there was really any avenue to get by with 33? He was strong, and like you said, you had your chances. It just looked really tough to pass.
I mean, I could have, there was like a couple instances where I actually could have pushed, push it, but then I would have risked either both of us making contact or the rest of the pack catching us, and then we have a pretty much a brawl for all. So I had to, either make a decision, either take it or just be content where I was at, and maybe hopefully, try to make, get some separation between the pack and us. And then at that point, there was a couple other instances where I could have took it and we got side by side, but then I was like, I don't think it's the right time to try to do it. So I was hoping that towards the end we were a little closer. Then at that point it would have been feasible to go ahead and do it, because it would have been hard for somebody to take it 3 wide and try to make a pass on the outside or something like that.
Yeah, I think you definitely made the right decision. Top three, pretty much the entire race, you come away the top three. And every race you've started, you finished top 10, your first top 5 of the season. So congrats on that, Julian. And you want to thank or shout out.
Well, I gonna run the Mulcahy, Kevin's paint scheme for the rest of the remainder of the season. He was a really good friend. We miss him. We love him. So, running his superior performance paint scheme on the Toyota. So, but yeah, I want to thank you guys, V Speed, Moza Racing, and PMax, and also Butt Kicker. The VRX guys are amazing racers, and we give each other a hard time, but we're really a big family, and yeah, it's been fun racing with these guys. These guys also race. We all we're a really tight group. So I appreciate everything you guys do, and the sponsors and VRX. They're awesome people to race with.
Obviously, awesome race to watch, and obviously awesome to see that paint scheme honoring Kevin Mulcahy. Congrats on a good run for that paint scheme. Hope you have more runs at the end of the season in that scheme. Congrats on the P3. Thanks for talking to us. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you. Bristol's, yeah, that one's gonna be a fun one.
It should be. Good luck there.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Third place finisher, Julian Conde, and the number 18. And that wraps it up for us here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Connor Horn, I know that this one was it was a fun one to say the least, but we still got racing left to do. I know that the excitement's going to continue.
Especially at Bristol, like Julian said, next week, 100 laps at Bristol. There might be a little bit of chaos there. It's really the last short track of the season. Remember, we went to Iowa last about a month ago at this point, where it's kind of a short track, kind of intermediate. This is pure short track, and these ARCA cars, it's going to be a very tough battle for all these guys. And it could be another race where the points battle flips. Like we said, last short track of the season coming up. The points gap unofficially only 7 points, I believe, from Brian Hennings to Philip Willis. Dan Charles still third, but he's 43 points back. If you're third on back, trying to make a title push, you need to start running top 3 each and every week. That 33 has the wins. Brian Hennings has the consistency. One's got to prevail, and consistency's hard to keep going at Bristol, so this should be a fun one.
Yeah, you can catch that at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live here on V-Speed. There's a complete look at the schedule. We'll go on a hiatus here for the Christmas break and New Year's all the way to January 8th, where we go to Indianapolis, Kansas Speedway, Homestead, Miami, and then Daytona to round out the season. But it has been fun here from Charlotte. It's 2 awesome racetracks back to back. the Mecca of Motorsports in the last great Coliseum. We hope you enjoyed tonight's action. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's really simple. It's one click, and you can never miss any action. We'll get notifications for every single race here on V-Speed. We have plenty of leagues. We're up to 23 leagues here, Connor Horn, if you can believe that. And going on, we're just going to keep going, and we're hoping to bring you every single variety of racing. The SF23 official series, we have a one-off here tomorrow night. You can catch Universal Motorsports in their snowball. Connor Horn will be back up here in the booth with me. For everybody here at V-Speed, Anna Baker, for everything he does, our other owners, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, this is Bradley Cooper saying so long from North Carolina. It was a fun one. Philip Willis with 4 wins on the season. Who's going to take it at Bristol next week? Stay tracking, everybody.